Welcome back to my channel. On this Hubei road trip, we started from Shiyan and drove a small loop through some of central China's most fascinating landscape. Along the way, we watched the breathtaking sea of clouds rolling through the forests of Shenongjia and wandered through the thousand-year history of the ancient city of Xiangyang. And on our way back to Shiyan, we passed by something completely different. The Danjiangkou Reservoir, one of the most important water conservancy projects in central China. Formed by the Danjiangkou Dam, this vast reservoir has created one of the largest artificial freshwater lakes in Asia, often referred to as the Canglang Sea.
我们今天就是从襄阳回十堰，路上正好经过了一个中国南水北调工程的一个重要节点，一个重要的枢纽吧，就是丹江口水库。我现在过来，它正好正在泄洪，这就是丹江口的大水坝，这个泄洪很壮观，正好赶上看到。
So this is the Danjiangkou Reservoir, located along the upper reaches of the Han River. Construction actually started all the way back in 1958, and after decades of work and upgrades, it officially became the water source for the middle route of China's south to north water diversion project in 2014. What's really impressive is that this reservoir now supplies fresh water to over 100 million people in northern China. It's kind of hard to imagine that the water stretching out in front of us is traveling hundreds of kilometers north. The water quality here is known to stay at a very high standard year-round. And besides providing drinking water, the reservoir also helps with flood control, power generation, and even aquaculture. So it's not just a lake, it's a huge multi-purpose project quietly supporting everyday life far beyond this region.
然后看到水坝的这一侧有写南水北调中线工程，从我们现在所在的这个丹江口，把这个水一直经过河北，一直调到北京、天津去。因为中国就是南面的水比较多，北面的水比较少，更加干旱一些。这里有具体他写的总库容339.5亿立方米，年调水量达到95亿立方米，输水干线总长是1432公里。然后我们那天打车的时候，司机师傅说这个水库里面的鱼特别好吃。中午的话，我们就到那个丹江口市看看有没有好的鱼馆，去吃一些新鲜的鱼吧。
Right next to it is the Danjiangkou Project Exhibition Hall. If you are curious, you can step inside and learn about the decades-long construction process. There's also a section that documents the massive personal sacrifices and contributions made by hundreds of thousands of households who relocated for the national interest. Today, the whole area feels surprisingly peaceful. The road around the lake has turned into a scenic drive, and there are several free viewing platforms along the way. From up there, you can see endless water dotted with small islands, and the long bridges stretching across the surface. It almost looks like a sea, calm, vast, and quietly powerful.
Thank you. 谢谢老板，谢谢老板。尝尝老板送的橘子，说是树上刚摘下来的。酸涩涩的，小时候吃橘子的味道， 你们这个片橘子叫啥橘子？
我们这儿就叫武当蜜橘。
武当蜜橘。
现在人家国家自己都直播呀，价格人家在菊园地里自己采摘，然后价直播往外面送。所以说政府也比较支持这个。我说我要没做这个，我就没得过去。
你们这那个水库鱼不卖吗？
水库鱼现在禁止野生鱼。
那我们现在吃的这些鱼都是人工养殖的，对吧？那水库里面的鱼还有野生的？
野生的，大坝放水放下来，这个也是的，可以捡。但是大坝上游的这个水，它是送北京的，不能钓，文明钓，不能打锅子，一根一线一钩，规定区域不能钓。
所以就是生态保护
这个生态鱼也属于半野生的，也是政府每年发的标，水产厂包那个博尔区、大湾子区那种大型的这个鱼塘，它里边放的就是鱼塘，大养了1-2条。
鱼丸汤，这么大，这就是白鱼是吗？翘嘴白，你的水库鱼。尝一尝他家这个鱼丸子，我妈刚刚说怎么说的来着？吃完以后
Q 弹鲜香
，Q 弹鲜香的鱼，确实很鲜。鱼丸超嫩，特别嫩。
我觉得你这教的都非常好吃，恰到好处，它不咸。现在
主要是鱼好，
对，最主要这个
鱼好。
While chatting with the restaurant owner, we found out that her family was actually among those who relocated because of the reservoir project. The government helped resettle them in another area and provided compensation over the years. But even so, they never really stopped missing their hometown. So about 10 years later, they decided to move back, settling in Danjiangkou City, as close as they could get to where they once lived. That's how this little restaurant started. Now business is doing well, and they've built a new life here by the reservoir. There's something quietly meaningful about that. Coming back, staying close to your roots, and finding a way to begin again. In the end, we returned to where this journey first began, Shiyan. If you have a little extra time like we did, it's definitely worth exploring the city itself. Take a slow walk along the old riverbank, soak in the sunshine, and just enjoy the bright, easygoing atmosphere.
我觉得这个河道啊，最开始的是个防洪河道，由于上游的丹江口水库的建成，极大的
改善了就不发洪水了。
对，这个发洪水的可能就被基本上消除了，所以呢，
上游都被堵住了，
对
是吧？
对，就丹江口水库起到了调节作用。但是这个地方怎么办呢？所以说他就利用了这个防洪河道，建成了一个市民可以休闲的一个城市花园。
所以它这个河就没有汛期了，对吧？
没有，所以它河水很少，就是起到一个景观作用。
对，因为它这个你看它很浅很浅的这个河，它要有汛的话，它可能这儿就全都被淹掉了。对吧？
正是因为现在已经基本无汛吧，可以这么说。所以说它就变成了一个市民的休闲花园。
所以
这是我在全国的城市当中唯一见到的一个将防洪河道改成市民休闲小公园。没见过这样的。所以看来那个丹江口水库的建设作用还是极大的。
所以它这个原来叫实验，它应该就是沿着这个
河
建的那个堰塞坝、堤坝之类的，可能有10个。
对，
咱们这个地儿叫5堰。
对，
之前住的叫3堰。对，所以它是这个河1堰、2堰、3堰，一共有10个堰。
对，
所以这个城市叫10堰。对吧？
对。第一个
是吧？挺好的，而且它这个建的景观设计啥的都挺好看的哈。
And that brings our 10-day journey through Hubei to an end. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. It truly means a lot. If you'd like to discover more of China through travel, feel free to subscribe and join me. There are still so many places waiting to be explored. and our journey is far from over.